Heartwarming moment. Millionaire discovers his hidden daughter after 5 years of tearful pleas. Samuel Carter, a 42-year-old self-made millionaire, stared at the morning sun flooding through his picture windows, warming the luxurious marble floors of his sprawling Chicago suburban home. To anyone watching, he was the embodiment of a success story. His tech startup flourished, filled with gleaming screens and ambitious spirits, but behind this perfect facade lay a darkness he couldn't shake. His daughter, Lily, had been absent for 5 painful years. A casualty of his bitter divorce, a wound he couldn't quite heal. The echo of his late mother's voice haunted him. "Family first, Samuel." But those words felt distant, almost mocking. He moved through his high-pressure workday, the buzzing of admiration buzzing around him like bees. Colleagues clapped him on the back, praising his achievements, yet no one saw the gnawing emptiness curled tight in his chest. Every compliment dripped with a sweetness that tasted bittersweet. Then, on an ordinary Tuesday, a thin, tear-stained letter slipped into his hands. Lily's words, bursting with raw emotion and longing. They were the cries of a girl abandoned, grappling with confusion and resentment. Samuel's heart raced as he read, the pain forcing its way into his comfortable world like an unwelcome guest. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. His hope of reconnecting shattered against the reality of their lives. Lily lived with her mother in a struggling neighborhood, a world apart from his high-rise office views and expansive gardens. He drove through her neighborhood in a car that felt like a foreign object parked in the wrong zip code. The cheerful chatter of children filled the street, and where joy should have resonated, lurking shadows of resentment stood tall in Lily's heart. His well-meaning attempts to reach out felt flimsy, like trying to grasp smoke as it slipped through his fingers. Then, unexpectedly, a spark ignited Community Festival Day, a vibrant celebration of resilience, joy, and togetherness. The colors swirled around him, laughter alive in the air, creating a stark contrast to his pristine office walls. Samuel felt the ground pulse underfoot, and for the first time, the rigid hold of privilege loosened. Here, within earshot of a dozen conversations, both Lily and Samuel stood still, their gazes locking across the crowded lawn, heavy with unanswered questions and old wounds. Fear breathed between them. Would the weight of the past crush what might be? Samuel's heart raced, pulses of hope tightening his chest. Would she recognize him as her father? Would Lily step toward him? Or would the scars of abandonment drive her away once again? The seconds stretched, fragile as spun glass, filled with the anticipation of what could be a moment where everything hung in perfect balance, poised for a breakthrough or a heartbreaking farewell, leaving readers clamoring for what comes next. The world around them vibrated with laughter, the scent of caramel popcorn and fresh cotton candy wafting through the air. Samuel watched as children zipped past him on their scooters, the sunlight dancing on their happy faces. But his focus remained solely on Lily. Her hair caught the wind, framing her face with a wild beauty that reminded him of her mother. Time had altered them both, yet the bond beneath the surface was unmistakable, waiting to be reignited. His breaths came in shallow bursts as uncertainty gripped him. Would she see him as the man who had failed her, or the father he desperately wished to be? He took a tentative step forward, but it felt monumental, like crossing a chasm of memories that had long been buried. The laughter around him faded into a dull hum as he fought through the chaos in his mind, willing her to take a chance on him. Then, unexpectedly, Lily looked away from him. Her eyes roamed the vibrant festival, searching for the familiar comfort of friends and laughter. Samuel's heart sank, a dull thud within his chest. He knew he should reach out, maybe wave, but the fear of rejection paralyzed him. He could imagine the thoughts racing through her mind. Who was this stranger staring at her, and why was he watching so intently? Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed an older woman with kind eyes observing the scene. She wore a bright, sunflower-patterned dress, her warmth emanating like sunshine. As if sensing his unease, she turned toward him, offering a reassuring smile that seemed to say, "You can do this." Her encouragement sparked a flicker of hope, illuminating the darkness that had made itself comfortable in his heart. "Samuel." The voice cut through the noise, and he shifted his gaze toward the sound, instinctively knowing it wasn't Lily, because no one had called him that name in so long. His friend, Marcus, approached, oblivious to the monumental moment unfolding nearby. "What are you doing here? Enjoying the festival?" Yeah," Samuel replied, his voice strained, pulled taut by conflicting emotions. "Just taking it all in." "Good. The energy is electric. You need to unwind, man." Marcus clasped him on the shoulder, anchoring Samuel's wavering determination. He tried to laugh, but the sound felt foreign and hollow in his throat. While Marcus rambling on about the upcoming tech conference, Samuel's eyes drifted back to Lily. She was laughing with a group of her friends now, the sound as sweet as the melody of a beloved childhood song. His heart ached with longing to join her, to simply be in her life once again. The soft tugging of hope turned into a relentless pull. If only he could reach her. With a sudden pang of clarity, he realized that the longer he stood here, the more she might slip away, just as she had before. Without thinking, he stepped away from Marcus, leaving a bewildered friend behind. Every inch felt monumental, each step toward Lily imbued with urgency. As he closed the distance, she turned, her face softening as their eyes met once more. In that pivotal moment, Samuel felt everything shift: hope, fear, and a raw need for connection spilling into the space between them. He spoke her name softly, less as a statement and more like a question, hoping it might dissolve the invisible barrier between their lives. "Lily?" Tension crackled in the air, vibrating with unspoken words, fears, and long-buried love. Would she embrace him? Or would she pull away? The question hung heavy, thick with possibility, leaving both of them at the edge of a new beginning or a painful end. As the festival swirled around them, Samuel realized that sometimes the scariest leap is the first step toward healing. What would her reaction be? Would she step into his world, or would fear keep her rooted in the past? Lily's eyes widened in surprise. For a moment, time stood still. The laughter of the festival faded away, and all that remained was the weight of Samuel's gaze. He could see the flicker of recognition, the silent questioning swirling in her deep-set eyes. It was as if the world had shrunk to the two of them standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to leap or fall back into the abyss. "Dad?" she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. It was a small word, yet it held the power to shatter years of silence. With that one syllable, all the pain, the longing, and the hope hung delicately in the air between them. Samuel felt his heart race, each beat echoing like a drum. He had spent countless nights dreaming of this moment, envisioning how he would explain himself, how he would make up for lost time. Yet, faced with her wide eyes, the words caught in his throat. "Lily," he started, his voice trembling. I know I haven't been there for you. And I'm sorry. I never should have let you go." She trembled slightly, her brow furrowing as she searched his face for something: answers, perhaps, or reassurance. Samuel could see the conflict within her. The hurt, the anger, combined with a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, his presence didn't spell disaster. "I don't understand," she said, her voice breaking. "Why now? Why after all this time?" Samuel felt the weight of her words, each one a dagger. They cut deeper than anything he had ever experienced. He wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but fear rooted him to the spot. He could feel the watched eyes of the festival, the laughter, the joy, everything a stark contrast to the tension between them. "Because I've missed you," he admitted, his voice cracking under the weight of emotion. "Every day I've thought about you, regretted my choices. They haunt me, but I want to change that. I want to be part of your life, if you'll let me. The festival hummed around them, the bright lights and boisterous joy feeling like a distant reality. All that existed was this moment, and the thick feelings swirling like storm clouds above them. Lily's expression softened, but Samuel could see the ghost of uncertainty linger. You left, Samuel. You chose to leave us. Why should I believe that you'll stay now? Her words pierced through him like icy cold water. You're right, Samuel replied, his heart sinking. I was a coward. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know that you matter more to me than anything. I'm here now. Please give me a chance. As he spoke, some of the tension drained from her shoulders, but hesitation still danced in her eyes, battling between desire and doubt. I don't know if I can trust you, she admitted quietly. That honest admission hit him hard, more than anger ever could. It wasn't just trust. It was a broken bond he needed to fix. I'll make it right, I promise. I'll prove it. Just give me one day to show you that I'm ready to be the father you deserve. Lily regarded him, the turmoil in her heart mirrored in her expression. He could see her weighing the possibilities, caught between hope and fear. She glanced at her friends laughing a few feet away, then back at him, and for a fleeting moment, a flicker of something warmer passed between them. But the moment was interrupted by a loud crash from a nearby ride, a spill of cotton candy flying through the air, startling many in the crowd. For Samuel, it felt like a metaphor, chaos breaking through their fragile moment. Just one day, he repeated, as if saying it out loud could solidify their fragile connection. Lily took a step back, her brows knitted closely together. Would she take that chance? Would she trust him even just a little? What if I don't want to? She responded, anguish flickering in her eyes. He felt the weight of her question, as if the entire world fell upon him. The laughter, the lights, the chaos, it all faded as he realized this was not only about him. It was about her life, her choices. Would he be able to bear the storm of taking a step forward, knowing he might have to weather the aftershocks of doubt? As she turned away, the distance between them felt insurmountable once more. Samuel's heart ached as he realized he had just stepped into a minefield built from years of silence. But he also knew one thing: it was a battlefield worth fighting for. What came next would change everything, but would he have the strength to face the explosive truth looming just ahead? The air around them buzzed with the sounds of laughter and music, but for Samuel, it all felt muffled. Each moment stretched like an eternity as he watched Lily wrestle with the gravity of what had just unfolded. He could see the flicker of hope battling against the undeniable hurt carved into her expression. It was like watching a storm cloud gather, ready to burst. Please don't go, he pleaded, stepping closer, desperate for her to stay. Each word felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. But as soon as he reached for her, she flinched, the instinct to protect herself stronger than any urge to embrace the connection he was offering. Why should I believe you? Her voice was steady, but the tremor in her chin betrayed the depth of her emotions. You just show up and expect everything to be okay?
It doesn't work like that.
I know, Lily. I know it doesn't. But I want to earn that trust, however long it takes. He followed her retreating figure with his eyes, feeling anchored by the weight of regret. All those years, did you ever think about me? Or was I just gone? Her words shot at him, harsh and piercing. Each syllable cut deeper than the last, chipping away at whatever courage he had mustered. The festival lights blinked above them, illuminating the emotions that danced in the space between father and daughter. Every day, he said, his voice a raw whisper. I thought about you every day. I messed up, Lily. I was too scared to face the consequences of my choices. But you were always there in my thoughts. She tore her gaze away, staring off into the distance where children were gleefully grabbing at carnival prizes. You were supposed to be there for me. The pain in her voice echoed through the crowd. A few nearby adults stopped, glancing their way, their expressions blending concern with curiosity. Samuel felt the heat of embarrassment creep up his neck. He didn't want to be the center of unwanted attention, yet he knew he had to press on. I can't change the past, he said, voice rising with urgency. But I can change what happens from here on out. Just let me show you who I've become, who I want to be. She was silent for a moment, and as the crowd swelled around them, he watched her face frame a bouquet of mingled emotions, anger reshaping into pain, and pain into doubt. Change? Is that what you think happens? Like flipping a switch? She scoffed, a bitter edge slicing through her words. What if I'm not ready for that? Maybe I'm just fine without you.
His heart sank.
I can't imagine what it's like to be in your shoes. I'm sorry for all the moments I missed, the birthdays, the school plays for a heartbeat. He saw her resolve soften. And yet you didn't care enough to stick around, she shot back, but with less venom now. Why now? Because I realized life is too short to run away from what matters most. And you mean everything to me. The sincerity in Samuel's tone hung between them like a thread, thin yet unbreakable. Lily bit her lip, her eyes glistening as she weighed her options, emotions swirling within her like a tempest trapped in a bottle. I don't want to get hurt again, Samuel. I can't, her voice faltered, and he could see her struggle, that fire of protective anger blazing against the flicker of vulnerability. Just one day, he repeated, desperate. Let us have one day together. I promise I'll listen. I'll learn everything I should have known. A glimmer of uncertainty crossed her face, her defenses still standing tall but beginning to waver. And what if I don't want to like you? What if it feels too late? Then I'll leave. I want to fight you. But I want to give up just yet. Samuel's heart raced as he sensed a crack in her resolve. Would she step back from the edge? Would she dare to find out what lay beyond their old hurts? And for the first time, as the cacophony of festivities swirled around them, he wondered if they were both finally ready to bridge the chasm that had kept them apart for far too long. But just as a whisper of hope flickered in the air, a figure burst forward from the crowd, breaking the fragile moment and focusing both their gazes. Lily, there you are, called a voice familiar and intrusive, pulling her away from Samuel's yearning eyes. Would the arrival of this new presence derail everything before it could truly begin? The unexpected voice sliced through the anticipation like a knife. Samuel's heart hitched as Lily's face transformed. The softness in her eyes evaporated, replaced with something harder. She turned sharply, the tension boiling over as she faced the newcomer.
Wow, what timing, right?
Lily's sarcasm dripped like poison. Samuel's stomach twisted. He recognized the voice. Jake, one of Lily's friends from school. There you are. Everyone's been looking for you, he said, casually brushing off the intensity between them. His jovial expression seemed at odds with the weight of the moment. Jake was blissfully unaware of the emotional minefield he had just walked into. Samuel felt a surge of irritation. How could someone cut in like this? However, he quickly reminded himself that this was not about him. He was the outsider here. The urgency to reconnect with Lily prickled more intensely, but he sensed that whatever was happening now could shatter that hope. Lily squared her shoulders, crossing her arms defensively. I'm fine, Jake. I can take care of myself. She shot back, but it lacked the usual fire. Jake glanced back and forth between them, the smile sliding from his face. Yeah, I just thought. His voice faded, finding no solid ground. The awkwardness hung thick in the air. Samuel took a cautious step back, wanting to give Lily space, but she didn't turn her gaze back to him. Instead, she looked at Jake like he held all the answers to an unasked question. Her vulnerability was lost briefly in the noise of the crowd and the festival lights still blinking around them. Would you give us a minute? Jake asked, trying to maintain his bravado. I can find you later, Lily. There's a competition starting.
No.
The word erupted from her, and Samuel flinched at the sudden ferocity.
Just not now.
The wall she had built cracked further, revealing a glimpse of the turmoil beneath. The crowd around them seemed to blur, stretching into the background as if times were standing still. Okay. Jake raised his hands in surrender, stepping back. Just thought you might want to join everyone. It's not safe just standing here. With a quick glance to Samuel, she whispered, just wait a second. The urgency in her voice held both hope and hesitation. Samuel felt his pulse quicken. Would she ask him to explain? Would Jake's interruption be a sign to flee or an opportunity to support her? Why are you really here, Lily? Jake pressed, uneasily shuffling under the discomfort brewing between them. You usually love the games. Now isn't the time, Jake. She bristled, her voice lowering but still sharp. Samuel could see her internal battle waging on, the pull of normalcy versus the gravity of the conversation they were trying to have. I thought we were friends, he shot back. There was a confused hurt in his eyes. What's going on? Things are complicated, okay? She snapped, the words pouring out in a rush. Samuel winced. He could feel the weight of her internal conflict, teetering on a precipice of emotion. But then her gaze drifted back to Samuel, a fragile truce forming between them. Maybe, just maybe, what we talked about before can still happen. A spark ignited in his chest. There was still a chance. But then, like a sudden storm, Jake's voice pierced through again. Lily, this was it. This moment held the potential to break them apart or draw them closer. Samuel couldn't help but take a step forward, his heart racing as he prepared to speak up. But would she let him in? Would she shut the door again?
Just give me a little more time, okay?
She pleaded, both to him and to Jake. That flicker of hesitation lingered between them, suspended in the air, waiting for either direction to tip the balance. Samuel's breath caught in his throat. Would this chance slip away, or would Lily find the courage to fight for the connection they both desperately craved? The unmistakable sound of a loud cheer erupted from the carnival games, drawing attention away, yet enhancing the tension. As the deafening noise faded in and out, Samuel's heart ached with the uncertainty of where this path would lead. And just as her eyes braced for a decision, Samuel wondered if this was only the beginning. Could they rewrite the narrative of their lives? Or would they bear the weight of missed chances yet again? Lily's eyes darted back to Samuel, searching for something confidence, understanding, perhaps even a sign that she wasn't alone in this. She drew in a shuddering breath, trying to quiet the storm inside her. But she could hardly hear herself over the cheers and laughter that echoed from the games, a stark reminder of the world moving around them, unaffected by her crisis. Just give me a minute, she repeated, more to herself than anyone else. Jake's frown deepened, and Samuel could see the confusion written all over his face, but there was urgency too, as if he feared that whatever was unsaid between them could explode at any moment. Lily, are you sure? I don't want to. Jake hesitated, searching for a way to diffuse the situation. You always wanted to compete in the ring toss. It's your favorite. I know, she snapped, the frustration clawing at her voice. But right now, I need to figure this out. The words lingered in the air, heavy and taut, and Samuel felt the weight of their meaning pressing into his chest. He longed to step closer, to reach out and bridge the gap between them, but he remained paralyzed by uncertainty. Come on, Jake pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. Don't do this. You don't have to stop. Lily's voice sliced through Jake's concerns. Just stop. The sharpness faltered as she looked at Samuel, softening into something more real, more vulnerable. I need to know where we stand. I don't want to keep pretending. The finality in her tone sent chills down Samuel's spine. He met her gaze, his heart racing. This was the moment that would define everything. It's okay, he said softly, feeling the weight of their shared history. You don't need to pretend with me. Not anymore. Jake shifted uncomfortably, caught in a moment that clearly wasn't meant for him, yet knowing he couldn't walk away entirely. Okay, but Lily, I just don't want to lose you. I get that, but this is about more than just you and me, Jake, she said, her voice quieter now. But the tension didn't completely dissipate. Behind them, colorful lights flickered and laughter echoed around the fair, a stark reminder of what fun should feel like. Samuel watched as the background faded, creating a world that was just the three of them. Lily's breathing steadied, her shoulders unclenching slightly. I care about you both, but I need answers. Honestly, Samuel, what happens next? Samuel took a deep breath, feeling the weight of that question. Everything hinged on his response, every fear and hope colliding within him. I want to explore this, Lily. I want you in my life. You mean everything to me. Her eyes shimmered, vulnerability bumping up against hope. Time seemed to stretch, thick and heavy like molasses. Samuel's heart raced, wondering if there was a chance that they might really make this work, that she might really take that step toward him. In that moment, the noise of the fair faded away just a little. The world outside grew less important, and all that mattered was what stood before them. But Jake cleared his throat, stepping forward again, insisting on a place in this heartstrings tangle. Lily, Jake, please. She ached, the fight fading from her eyes. Samuel felt the air shift again. The decision was coming, and Jake wasn't backing down. Let us talk later? Samuel suggested, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside.
Give us a chance to figure this out.
Lily hesitated, caught between two improbable futures, aware that one wrong step could turn hope into heartache. But just then, chaos erupted. A commotion flashed through the crowd as people began to scatter, excited cheers morphing into shrieks of surprise. Samuel turned, scanning the scene to see a cascade of balloons careening into the sky, borne away by unexpected wind. In the midst of the laughter and confusion, Lily grabbed Samuel's hand, her grip firm and desperate. "Hold on, Samuel," she whispered, "because things are about to change." As they both stood there, hand in hand, Samuel realized this was just the beginning of their journey, not the end. And whatever happened next could either solidify their bond or drive a wedge between them. So, what would they choose to face together? The noise of celebration swirled around them, but for Samuel and Lily, everything else faded into a distant hum. As the balloons floated higher, carried by the wind like their untold dreams, Samuel felt the weight of Lily's hand in his. It tethered him to the reality of their situation, yet it also sparked a trembling hope deep within. "Lily," he began, his voice steady but gentle. "I understand that things are complicated right now. But whatever this is, whatever we have can't end just because choices are hard." He squeezed her hand, trying to draw courage from her presence. Lily's eyes glistened with uncertainty, like the shimmering lights above them. "I don't want to hurt Jake," she whispered, barely audible over the distant laughter of carefree fairgoers. "But I need to think about what I want to." The realization struck Samuel like a bolt of lightning. Her conflict wasn't just with Jake, it was within herself. She was battling age-old fears of rejection, of the heartache that might come with choosing one person over another. He could sense the pressure in her mind, the swirling doubt that twisted their reality into a knot. "Listen," he said gently, tilting his head to catch her gaze. "You deserve to choose a path that makes you happy. Or, at least the chance to figure out which one it could be." More balloons shot into the sky, illuminating their faces with bursts of vibrant color. The chaos around them only served to amplify the silence between them. It was a silence filled with unspoken promises, and a longing so deep it ached. Before Lily could respond, Jake stepped forward, his expression flickering between concern and frustration. "Lily, are you really thinking this through? You have to consider the implications. We are a team." His voice struggled to maintain its former calm, giving way to the tremor of vulnerability. "I know," she sighed, looking away for a moment, as if searching for the right words in the crowd. "But there's more at stake here than just fun and games. I can't keep lying to myself or to either of you." "Then let us be honest," Samuel interjected, his heart pounding. "We're at a fair, surrounded by memories and laughter. We can take our time. But if you want to explore us, then we can. Just know that you don't have to carry this burden alone." Lily's eyes met his, a mixture of longing and fear swirling within them. Could she really take that leap of faith? A hint of a smile danced on her lips, and for a moment, hope surged. Suddenly, another loud cheer erupted from the crowd, and both of them glanced over at a small stage. A magician had just pulled off an astonishing trick, delighting a throng of children and adults alike who erupted into applause. It felt like a metaphor for the magic that might still exist in their tangled lives.
"See?"
Samuel said, gesturing toward the whimsy unfolding before them. "Life is unpredictable, filled with surprises that spark joy. We could stand on the sidelines or join the show. Behind them, Jake ran a hand through his hair, frustration palpable. This isn't just a game, Samuel. This is about real emotions. And real choices, Lily added, her voice rising slightly with newfound resolve. I need clarity. They stood there, three hearts on the precipice of change, each grappling with their own desires. Would they decide to explore what the heart dictated? Would they allow the magic of the moment to guide them through the messiness of love? Feeling the pulse of the fair thrum around them, everything hinged on that moment. And just like that, the unexpected wind whipped through again, stronger this time, sending balloons swirling back down as if coaxing them to a conclusion. The spectacle brought back memories of simpler times. Laughter, playful nudges, secrets shared. Samuel's heart raced as tension curled in his stomach. Lily, what do you want? Samuel finally asked, his pulse echoing in his ears. In that instant, he realized that whatever her answer was, it would determine not just their next step, but the future of all three of them. But that lingering question hung in the air like a balloon, deflated and uncertain. Would it rise again, or would it drift away altogether? Lily took a deep breath, her gaze flickering between Samuel and Jake, both so different yet so present in her life. The sounds of the fair felt distant now, like echoes of dreams on the fringes of her reality. The buzz of laughter and celebration dimmed as the weight of their situation pressed down on her. I don't know what I want, she finally croaked, her voice trembling with uncertainty. The admission hung heavy in the air, nearly palpable. Part of me is drawn to what is familiar. I love Jake, I really do. But there's another part of me that gets scared. Scared of being trapped, of missing out on something that could be amazing. Jake stepped back, his brow furrowing with pain. You don't have to figure it all out right now. We've built something together, he replied, hurt flooding his voice. I thought you were happy. I was happy, she said, desperation creeping into her tone. But now everything feels jumbled. Samuel's heart ached for her. He couldn't imagine the turmoil she was facing, but he could feel it, the weight of expectation clinging to her like the summer humidity. If I may, he began, hesitating slightly. I think happiness isn't just about what we have. It's about what we truly want. You deserve to find that truth, whatever it is. She searched his eyes, a storm of emotions flickering within her. But what if I make the wrong choice? What if I lose everything I care about? You can't lose what's meant to be yours, Samuel replied softly. Whatever choice you make, that won't erase the love you've built with Jake or what we've shared. As if on cue, fireworks lit up the sky, colors bursting forth and illuminating the night. The crowd oohed and awed. For a moment, it was dazzling and full of hope, like a magical embrace wrapping around them. Lily turned back to Samuel, a glimmer of mischief dancing in her eyes. You think you're getting all deep and philosophical, don't you? He chuckled, relief flooding him as she broke the tension, even for a moment. Maybe I am, he said, allowing the lightness to fill the space between them. Just trying to keep things honest. Jake crossed his arms, glaring at the sky, clearly still wrestling with his emotions. Honesty doesn't change the fact that someone is going to get hurt. Love isn't a game we play to see who ends up winning. I know it's painful, Lily said, earnest now. But I can't just ignore what is happening inside me. I don't want to hurt either of you. That's the last thing I want. The fireworks faded, leaving stars twinkling above them like scattered dreams, just out of reach. Lily, whatever the outcome, promise us that you'll be honest with yourself, Jake implored, his eyes wide and searching for answers. Samuel felt that familiar pang again, a mix of fear and yearning. And remember, you don't have to rush. This isn't a race. Tears formed in Lily's eyes as she turned from one to the other, seeing their struggles and love reflected back at her. A soft sigh left her lips, heavy with contemplation. As the laughter and cheers of the fair faded into the background, the world around them shrank until it was just the three of them. A choice loomed, shimmering in the fading light, and she was the one to make it. I need a moment to think, she finally whispered, stepping back, her heart racing. Samuel's blood ran cold. A moment was all they had, and he could sense the clock ticking in the silence that followed her words. What would she choose? Would she embrace the uncertainty or play it safe? As she turned away, leaving him with nothing but the weight of possibility, Samuel couldn't shake the feeling that the night was far from over. It was just entering its most crucial chapter. What would happen when she came back? Would hope turn into heartbreak? Lily walked away, her mind racing. The fair was still alive with the laughter of children, the calls of vendors, the distant music playing a soft tune. Yet all of it felt muted, as if she were in a bubble, watching life unfold without being part of it. She needed air. It wrapped around her, cool and refreshing, grounding her in a moment where uncertainty reigned. She found a quiet corner behind the food stands, her heart pounding in her chest. A million thoughts swirled around her, and no matter how hard she tried to silence them, they just grew louder. What did she really want? Did she want the comfort of the known, with Jake, whom she had loved through thick and thin? Or did she crave the thrill, this profound connection she felt with Samuel that both terrified and exhilarated her? Feeling tears well up again, she swiped at them, forcing herself to breathe. The cool touch of her skin cemented her reality. Jake was still back there, waiting in pain, while Samuel was there, a steady beacon filled with understanding. They both loved her, yet each love came with its own colors and shadows. A couple strolled past her, their hands tightly intertwined, their laughter a song of blissful unity. Lily couldn't help but envy their certainty. Did they ever feel the weight of indecision? The flicker of doubt? She wished she could look ahead into the future. But just like the stars above, it was out of reach, shimmering but not tangible. Taking a deep breath, she leaned against the wall, her eyes closed. She could hear the distant sounds of laughter merging with the faint pops of fireworks ending their show. "Lily?" A soft voice broke through her thoughts. Opening her eyes, she turned to see Samuel standing before her, concern etched on his face. "I didn't mean to intrude," he said, his hands raised slightly, a gesture of peace. "Just wanted to check if you were okay." She motioned toward the sky, where the last remnants of fireworks faded like dreams slipping away. I'm trying to figure things out," she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "Take your time," he said, stepping closer. "But don't let fear tell you who you should be or who to choose." "I don't want to hurt anyone," she said, the vulnerability bleeding into her tone. Her heart ached at the thought of Jake's face, twisted in sorrow, and yet she couldn't ignore the pull she felt towards Samuel. "Yes, but you also don't want to live in a cage," he replied gently. "Choice is freedom, even if it feels terrifying." The intensity of his gaze sent shivers down her spine. He looked at her like he saw more than just the moment they could build something, maybe something real. But would it last? Could she take that leap? She could feel her heart racing as thoughts whirled within, battling against each other. Choosing Samuel might open doors she didn't even know existed, while Jake felt like the safety net, familiar, warm yet potentially stifling. "What if I break the hearts of people I care about?" she murmured, the reality of choice sinking in. "Then own it," he said, the fire in his voice warming her. "You have every right to pursue your happiness, and sometimes it comes at a cost. But never forget, you are worth it." "We're all worth it," she whispered, the words landing softly between them, sparking a light of hope. For a moment, she thought she saw him smile, a gentle curve of lips that ignited something inside her. That lightness drew her closer, and she fought the urge to lean into him. But just then, as if on cue, she caught sight of Jake in the distance, scanning the crowd for her, worry etched on his face. Her heart seemed to split in two, and all the clarity she had sought suddenly blurred. The clock was ticking, and the moment of truth was approaching. As the familiar warmth of Jake spread through her, at the same time, another warmth threatened to lure her away with Samuel. The question hung in the air: could she truly embrace what lay before her, or would she cling to the past out of fear? Lily, Samuel's voice broke through her tangled thoughts. She glanced back at him, uncertainty swirling in her chest. What would happen if she followed the whisper of her heart? Would it lead her to joy and fulfillment? Or would it unravel everything she held dear? As the laughter of the fair echoed, pulling her back into reality, she realized she had to decide, would she step into the unknown or retreat to the safety of what she knew. The moment was slipping, and soon she would have to make a choice that could change everything. What would she decide? Lily stood in the glow of the fair, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Time loomed heavy, pressing down on her as she glimpsed Jake searching for her, his worry a painful weight on her heart. Samuel was right there, a steady presence offering a different kind of warmth, a flickering flame in a storm that kept drawing her in. "Your happiness matters, Lily," Samuel urged gently, his eyes unwavering. "You can find it without hurting others." "But what if I can't?" The doubt broke free, spilling out as tears threatened to spill. "What if I ruin everything?" Change is scary. It's like jumping off a cliff into the unknown. "But sometimes you discover the best parts of yourself beneath the surface," he replied, stepping closer, his proximity a comforting tether. Lily could feel the pulse of the festival around her, the laughter and cheers fading like a whisper. The vibrant colors dulled, and it felt like her world narrowed to the two of them standing on the brink of possibility. Just then, Jake's voice broke through the thick silence, calling her name with an edge of urgency.
Lily, we need to talk.
His plea hung in the air, pleading for her attention. She turned, her heart racing as she glanced between the two men, two parts of her life pulling her in opposite directions. Would she return to the known warmth of Jake, or dive into the mystery with Samuel? The options felt like two doorways, each promising a different future. Closing her eyes, she took a deep breath, trying to push down the noise suffocating her heart. "I can't keep you both hanging on for something that may never be," she whispered. "Then choose," Samuel encouraged gently, his eyes never leaving hers. "Follow your heart. Choose." The weight of the word fell heavy on her. Fear coiled in her stomach as confusion tangled like vines around her thoughts. "I don't know if I even know what that means." The world around her buzzed, but inside, silence. A flutter of hope battled against the storm of uncertainty. She could feel their eyes on her Jake, worried and earnest. Samuel, hopeful and steady. "Lily," Jake called again, his voice breaking through the chaos. His urgency pulled at her, reminding her of the warmth they had shared, the laughter they built, the love that cradled her in comfort. But was that enough? Taking a shaky step back, she closed her eyes, summoning the memories of laughter and tears, heartaches and joys, moments that shaped her entire existence. Maybe I need a moment alone," she admitted quietly, her voice trembling. "I can't make this decision in a storm." "Lily," Samuel whispered, his heart in his voice. "You deserve to find your truth without fear. Just promise me, whatever choice you make, don't let anyone, myself included, dictate what happiness looks like for you." Tears brimming, she nodded, hoping her heart would lead her to clarity. She took a step away, heading toward the twinkling lights in the distance, finding a solitary space within the crowd. Lily stood there, letting the pulse of the world around her fade into nothingness as she closed her eyes and focused within. The noise blurred, then disappeared in a hush that felt like a soft embrace. Would she continue down the path that was marked by Jake's steady hands, or leap into the uncharted waters Samuel offered? A wisp of wind wrapped around her, whispering past fears and heartaches like an old friend. Slowly, realization began to settle in, like the sunlight breaking through the clouds, warm and illuminating. "Lily!" That was Jake's voice, echoing through the parade of thoughts. She turned back to see both men watching, the tension palpable, yet hope glimmered in their eyes. "Jake," she started, heart hammering against her ribs. "You've been my safety, the comfort I needed. I couldn't have asked for more. But I realize now that something has been missing. A spark that makes me feel alive." Seconds turned to minutes as she put her thoughts into words, searching for the clarity she needed to express. "I want to explore what I could build with Samuel," she admitted, the truth light on her tongue, even as her heart ached for the comfort of familiarity. Jake's face fell, hurt etched across his features. Lily, I thought we were in this together. Can't we just know, Jake? She breathed, shaking her head, that familiar angst twisting in her chest. It's not fair to you or me to keep pretending. It's not just about our past, it's about my future. I need to know if I can stand in the light of who I am. Jake's hurt morphed into pain, but she could see acceptance swimming just beneath the surface. If this is what is going to make you happy, I won't hold you back. A small flicker of hope ignited within her. And as that flicker sparked brighter, she turned back to Samuel, who was watching with a quiet understanding. I'm sorry, Jake, she said, voice trembling, regret heavy in her chest. But freedom bloomed in the same space, pushing darkness away. Lily, Jake's voice faltered. Just remember, you meant everything to me. She nodded with tears streaming down her cheeks, acknowledging all the love they shared. And you'll always be a part of me, no matter what. Finally, she turned to Samuel, the raw emotion in his gaze unlocking everything deep within her. In that moment, she embraced the possibility of the unknown. I want to see where this journey with you leads us, she whispered, finding the strength she longed for. The look that spread across Samuel's face was pure magic, a radiant smile that lit the darkest corners of her heart. Are you sure? He asked, his voice low and filled with hope. Yes, she breathed, her heart finally steady. And as they stepped closer, the spirits high from the festival cheered, unaware of the profound moment unfolding before them. The colorful lights flickered bright above their heads, illuminating the way forward, a way imbued with new beginnings, heartaches, and boundless joy. Together, they faced the unknown, ready to embrace their story, one that would be filled with the love they had long yearned for, a love that promised healing, connection, and transformation. Her heart was lighter, finally filled with the understanding that happiness was a journey, one that could begin right here, right now. And as night descended, the colors of possibility danced before them, leaving their lives forever altered. This was the moment of metamorphosis, a story worthy of hope, carved in the very fabric of their lives. Now, dear friends, as we wrap this journey of discovery and transformation, don't let missing out be your story too. You need to subscribe now to not miss exclusive stories like this, stories that inspire and ignite change in all of us. Leave a like right this moment to feed the algorithm and remind us all of the power of connection. Share your thoughts in the comments. What did this ending reveal to you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this tale of transformation. Together, let us spread the message of love, healing, and new beginnings. This is the moment to show your support.